I'm with Hayley Jaffrey, who is the Privacy Officer for GlaxoSmithKline. Now, we've just been talking a little bit about GDPR, or a lot about it today, and one of your frustrations is that companies feel like it has to be about consent.
Yes. So as we know, there's more than one legal basis for processing personal data. In a marketing and communication sense, I often see a very risk-averse position with organisations going with the consent legal basis, which for some is wholly appropriate, but I see it in a business-to-business scenario as well. And there's a much better option is using legitimate interest, because when we want to communicate from a business to business point of view, going with consent is time consuming, can be quite expensive as well, and actually just managing it thereafter. Whereas from my point of view as a business, I expect to hear from other businesses. I don't want to be spammed. And I want to receive information that's relevant and valuable. So that is a commitment that an organisation needs to make. But if I'm going to be asked for my consent, I'm not going to give it.
Yeah.
Normally because I don't have time. And I find it all just a wee bit of a scutter, as we would say in Scotland.
Yeah.
And I think that it is in a business's legitimate interest to communicate with other organisations, to grow networks, to grow their business, to achieve, a better market share. And I think that legitimate interest, legal basis, really has a great place. And it just makes an awful lot more sense.
Feels like those emails everyone got last May sort of created a lot of confusion about what this really means.
Well, some of them were breaking the law, so breaking GDPR, because they were asking for consent when they actually didn't have it in the first place. So the reconsenting scenario, and actually the majority didn't need to ask for it, because if you look at it from the PECR, the Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulation, which is actually really underutilised, I have to say. I think one of my lovely colleagues, Rowena Fielding, called it a compliance debt, that organisations not using PECR. But if they had gone with that, then it was wholly appropriate. I was getting messages from organisations that I'd never done business with before. I'd never actually even put anything in my shopping basket, so I wasn't entering into negotiations with them. But under the rules, if I am a previous customer or an existing customer, or I've entered into negotiations, and even if I believe that it's appropriate for me to get a communication from them. It's not that I bought slippers and they're now marketing me for jet skis. It's same or similar products, and they give me the option to unsubscribe any time. In that sort of grown-up sense of business to business, it's wholly appropriate. It makes absolute sense. Don't churn up my inbox with consent emails that I'm going to ignore, that then prevents a business from growing their business and actually telling me about things that I might want to hear about, but I don't want to consent to.
Yeah. It feels like there's a lot of areas where people misunderstood. I had one lady say, can you take off everybody in our company off your database? I said, well, no, they have to ask us to do that. You can't do it on their behalf. What if they want to hear from us? But it feels like, are you seeing more of that? Lots of areas where there's confusion.
I see it quite often. I see it from consumers and from individuals who'll say, I didn't opt in. And it's actually, well, you are a customer of theirs. You don't need to opt in because they're clearly going with legitimate interest and undersought to opt in. But what's often missing is the transparency element in the privacy policy that clearly states this is the information that we need about you, or we would like to collect about you, and this is the reason why, and this is what we're going to do with it. Really overcomplicated privacy notices that are not clear about their purpose and legal basis. If you can get that right, it's a one-pager. I'm really a massive advocate of just keeping everything really simple. Don't overcomplicate. It's hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are bored. They don't want to see this stuff, right?
Yeah, their tolerance levels are really low. I mean, I work with organisations and they're doing scripting for contact centres for marketing and promotion. And the first script was incredibly wordy and sort of opened up with, like, hi, I'm Hayley, I'm phoning from XYZ. Under GDPR, we require your consent. I'm like, don't say that.
I'm going to hang up straight away.
Don't start with that. If they ask, then of course you have that information to hand. But it's actually, I'm from XYZ, I've got some really great information, would you like to know about it? And we would like to send that to you. Carry on from there. There's an open door, don't close it straight off the bat. But it's about appropriate marketing and communication, and very much the responsibility lies with that organisation and what they want to do. Don't spam. Generally is the good advice. Yeah.
And do you think consumers want this? Do you think they actually just want simple communication? They know the rules of engagement. Just keep it easy.
Yeah, I think some don't know the rules of engagement, but make that really clear in your privacy notice. And meaningful, valuable information. Don't spam me, and if I ask you to stop, then just stop. There's no handbags at 50 paces around it. It's I think people are getting a lot smarter, but there is still that lack of clarity between consent and legitimate interest. And I know that there was a panel, and unfortunately I missed it because that was when I was speaking. But there was a panel about it that I really wished I got an opportunity to go to, but I'll watch it on the podcast later.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think it's really good advice. Keep it simple, and
Keep it simple.
it doesn't have to be as complicated as we all made it.
No, life's hard enough. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for speaking
My
with us.
pleasure.
This
Thank you for
afternoon.
having me.